plan to testify in your trial in New York?
Yeah, I would testify, absolutely. It's a scam. It's a scam. That's not a trial. That's not a trial. That's a scam. They actually took their top guy, one of their top guys, put him into the DA's office to run it, and it's a shame. What they have done is incredible. It's election interference, and it's got to stop. It's a third world country. This country's never done it.
Former President Donald Trump says he's ready to take the stand at his upcoming hush money trial, with jury selection set to begin Monday. It's just days after losing his third appeal to delay the trial. So what can we expect next week? Here to react is former Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. Matt, great to see you this morning. Monday starts with jury selection. This was really when the whole entire case is made. Who do you pick to sit on your jury? What personalities? Can you find a leader? Can you find a polarizing figure that actually other people don't want to align themselves with? But it's hard to calculate what that means in New York, Matt. Like, can you find people who are actually open, who aren't already hugely anti-Donald Trump?
Right. And it's good to be with you this morning, Will. I think the biggest challenge is in New York County, which is Manhattan. 61% of the people that were polled said they'd already judged the case and think Donald Trump is guilty. You have 7 of every 10 voters that voted for Joe Biden, only 2 Trump voters out of every 10. And so it's just going to be hard to pick a fair and impartial jury. And the biggest thing I worry about are those people that want to be on this jury that are not going to tell the truth, and they're going to say anything to try to get on the jury, to whether it's to become famous, whether it's because they want to convict the president. Picking a jury in this environment is going to be very difficult. And, you know, I'm not sure this judge really understands how hard it is for President Trump to actually get justice in New York City.
You know, Matt, is something like that just kind of, we're looking far ahead here. Is that grounds for appeal, that you couldn't get an impartial jury, it should have been removed? I mean, is this already something that's set up for appeal?
Yeah, there's a lot of appealable issues, you know, whether or not to move the venue, for example. You know, if Alvin Bragg feels so confident about his case, he should be willing to move it to upstate New York, where there's a much different mix of people, a much different jury pool. But, you know, they just seem determined to take him to trial in New York City, in Manhattan, in a really difficult environment for President Trump to be successful. Now, on the point of him testifying, obviously his lawyers haven't made that decision yet. You know, having tried cases myself, you don't determine whether or not to put the defendant on the stand until you know how the evidence comes in and how your case is going. Remember, there's just so many bad legal issues in this. This is not, these are not felony claims. You know, the reason they're elevated to felonies is because of this election issue, election finance issue that's already been determined by the Federal Election Commission to not be a violation of law. And so there's just so many issues that this case should not be going to trial on Monday. But, you know, here we go. And so we're going to have to, you know, buckle up and be ready.
Yeah, I'm glad you addressed the whether or not Donald Trump would testify. He says he will. That's kind of an uncommon occurrence for a defendant in a case, but made on a case-by-case basis in the moment, as you just pointed out. Yeah. And I can't help but think about appeal, whether or not it's the jury, but or you pointed out the way this has been charged up to a felony, or the number of charges off of, you know, because of the number of checks written off of what amounts to seemingly one or a couple of instances. It almost feels like whatever happens this week, then comes the next, and maybe the real fight is what happens upon appeal.
Yeah, and remember, not only is there the issue about the federal election violation and whether a state court can even do anything to enforce that, but you also have the statute of limitations. If it was, you know, it should have been 2 years because he's, you know, changing the business records, which Donald Trump's the only victim of that crime, by the way. You know, it's a 2-year statute of limitations. The felonies, when they're elevated, was a 5-year. COVID extended it to 6 years. I think there's a fundamental due process issue there, in addition to all the other appealable issues that are going to generate. But, you know, trial judges do have a lot of power, and they make so many decisions that can change the face of a trial that, you know, you may end up with this judge just making so many.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.